Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who have subscribed and who have left comments, and for friends and family that have reached out to comment and just give me kudos and words of encouragement, thank you so much, and keep them coming. This is a very out of my comfort zone endeavor that I'm taking on here, so I appreciate all the love and all the feedback that I've been getting. So on this video, I want to tell you about the ministry that changed my life. This ministry changed my life. So I left off in my last video talking about how I had gone through the seminar with the church, and I had gone through my divorce, and now it was let's go ahead and move on with life. So what should we do? So if you need to catch up, go back to my previous video and get caught up. So I joined a ministry at my church for those persons who are separated, going through a divorce, or divorced. And I was now at the status of actually being divorced and ready to move on to the next chapter of my life. But in this ministry, again, since it's a combination of people, you're going to hear stories of, stories of where I have already been and have come through, okay? So it was a 13-week session or 13-week event where, there were videos, there was a workbook, there were questions, there were all kinds of things that went on, group discussions, everything like that. So you're feeding off, led by servant leaders and things like that. And it was great. Because of confidentiality purposes, I can't go into depth as to what was discussed or what persons were there or anything like that. But I will just tell you that this ministry changed my life and changed my way of thinking. And till today, several of these members, they are still in my life and great, just like the best group of people ever, and you know who you are. So hey, so in this ministry, you go in and you pretty much talk about, of course you give your story and you talk about, so for me it was, pretty much what I've already talked about here. I met him, we dated, we got engaged, we married, it was a miserable marriage, we divorced, now here we are. So it was pretty much tools to and of course, being that it was in church, everything was faith-based. And it was, just hearing other people's stories and, again, letting you know that you're not by yourself. And here are some tools to help you realize. It's pretty much let's show you that you are not alone. And what you're going through, many other people have gone through it as well. So it's like, just to hear somebody else going through this, it can just help you understand, where you are in this situation and what you need to do, if it's something you should stick with as far as your marriage is concerned, or if it's something, some places you can leave. Again, this isn't it wasn't a ministry about this is what you should do. You should either stay or you should go. It's to help you make your own decision. So they're just giving you the tools and the conversation and the tips and the suggestions. Nobody can tell you what to do. You have to make your own decision. So I'm just going to say that with my story being put out there, that first 13 weeks helped me to see that I had made the right decision. However, if I had gone through that ministry while separated from my husband, I probably would have fought harder to stay in the marriage. Because in that ministry is where I was able to recognize the mistakes that I made in the marriage. So that's where, instead of me constantly saying or answering when someone said, what happened in your marriage? Like, what happened? Why'd you guys get divorced? It was always, he did this and he did that and he did this and he did that and he didn't do this and he didn't do that and he should have did this and he should have did that. But now I was able to say, I can only tell you why I feel as though I messed up in the marriage and how I contributed to the demise of the marriage, instead of constantly pointing my finger. And to me, once you can accept responsibility on your part for the demise of it, that's why I feel as though you find growth and you can move on. So because I was now able to figure out and understand that I played as much as a part in this as he did, it was like, okay, I get it. And I was able to accept it and then move on. And then on top of that, I learned about red flags. And you know, red flags are those signs. I believe in signs from God. Most people get talked to by God. I believe that God shows me signs and things. There were plenty of signs and red flags that came up during our dating process, during our time of being engaged, and even up until that day when I said, before I walked down that aisle in that white dress, that wasn't something I should do, I had tons of red flags. But what do we usually do with red flags? We usually ignore them. Why do we ignore them? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why we ignore the red flags that we get, but they're there and we see them, and for whatever reason we choose to ignore them. I don't know, but we just do it. So now you just, you understand moving forward what to look for in your next relationships as like red flags. And we know, you know what red flags are. So when you know better, you do better. So this is something you're supposed to learn from, not to keep making the same mistakes. So I feel as though since then, I have not made the same mistakes. If I saw red flags in anyone that I may have dated since this divorce, I was out. I knew not to tolerate and deal with. But again, so the group helped me see red flags. It helped me to understand what role I played in the divorce or in the demise of the marriage. And then it helped me to understand how I am supposed to treat a partner with verbal, nonverbal gestures, communication, That's where I learned how to listen, how to communicate. So, when you're speaking with someone and you're having a conversation and they might be telling you how you feel or how they feel or anything like that, that's where you learn, so before you just get back into, you have to be able to sit there and say, so if I understand correctly, you are saying blah, blah, blah. And as a response to that, I'm saying blah, blah, blah. So this group helped me to see how to communicate. And this is good to even just know, although it was truly focused on marriages, even I think you can use some of these things in relationships you have with friends, co-workers, any kind of relationship you might have. You might see red flags in a friend, or, a family member or anything. Red flags are everywhere. They're just not in romantic relationships. I think they can be in any kind of relationship that you're involved in. So red flags are important. Communication, they taught me my role in what was going on and different things like that. So towards the end of the 13 weeks, then there's a little break and then the ministry will start again. So then I'll do another whole 13-week session. Well, I felt like there was no need for me to come back and do the second, because they said usually you go 2-3 times around before it hits you and you are able to get everything you need out of it. But I felt as though I was cool after my first round. There was no need to come back. So I let the servant leader know, I won't be returning for the next one. And he was like, no, you need to come back. Your input was so important. And, I feel like your story really touched on some people and And I'm like, yeah, but I don't need to go back through what I went through. I feel as though my growth, it just coming through this ministry just solidified what I had already figured out for myself. I just came to make sure, everything was good. I feel as though I'm good. I'm ready to move on to the next level. And he was just like, no, you just got to stay. You got to stay, blah, blah. And then the other servant leader heard about it. She's like, no, it's really good. How about we make you a facilitator? Okay, I'll come back. I'll facilitate and I'll, see how that goes. So the second round came about and I was now on the flip side. So I was a leader kind of small group. And we used to break up into small groups and do, our kind of thing there. Again, I don't want to give away what actually happened in the group. So that became more fulfilling to me, being an actual leader. So I was able to actually, tell my story again and help some other people, guide them, give them, again, suggestions, just pretty much tell my own story to just help some other people along. So that's what I did for the next go around. So then something that also happened was most of the people that I connected with when I was going through it for the first time, we moved up to be facilitators. So now we were leading, and then we were meeting up, you know, outside of that, just to gather ideas, you know, suggestions on how we can, you know, always keep the ministry group moving, and new ideas, new thoughts, you know, different things like that. And we used to do it so often that we became a group in ourselves. Like, we just formed a huge friendship. We would fellowship outside of just this ministry. And I would say there's probably 8 of us, I think there's 8 of us, where we are still, we don't meet up as much as we do, but there's physically, but there's definitely text messages. There's always communication going through. And this is a group that, even like the person that I'm dating now, when I was starting out dating this person, I called them up. And it was like, I need to meet because I'm about to get into something that I think can really go somewhere. And I just need to play this out because I just need y'all to let me know if I'm, you know, starting off on the right path, you know, this, that, and the other. I didn't need them to tell me whether or not I should date this person. I just wanted to hear, you know, did they think my head was in the right space? Do they think I caught all the red flags? Did they think I, you know, all of this so that I wasn't going to go back down the same road that I went through before? Some people, you know, had their opinions for why I shouldn't. Some people had my opinions like, you go girl, you do you. So you're not always going to agree with anybody that you have conversations with. There are disagreements there, but nobody can tell you how to live your life. But it's a good feeling to know that you have this group that you can go to get this kind of information. So I became a facilitator. I think I did it for 2 or 3 rounds, I think. So each round lasted about 6 months or so. So then I would say I was in it for about a good 2-3 years, I think. My memory is not the best, so I really do, you know, like, apologize for that part. But I think I was in it for about a good 2 to 3 years. And then after that 2 to 3 years, I realized that I didn't want to do this anymore. I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. I got tired of rehashing my story. I got tired of, you know, being drawn back to those memories. I just didn't want to do it anymore. I was tired, and I just felt like I couldn't advance mentally to where I wanted to go because I kept focusing on this part of my life. So I felt like that season was over for me. You know, I've always been taught there's a reason and a season for everything. So I felt like that season was over, and I was able to now pretty much be on my own to go ahead and get that part done. So I did. So I left. I missed it wholeheartedly. Like, you know, the 2 times a month that we would meet, on those particular nights, it was like, oh man, I really wish I could go back. But I had served my purpose, and the group had served its purpose for me. So there was no need to go back. I would have just kept, you know, rehashing and reliving, and it's not something that I wanted for my psyche. I had to let it go, and it was okay. The reason and the season had come and gone, and it was okay, so it was gone. Another thing about this group, once that was over, and we did, you know, I still did reach out to several people in that group, and even still today. But something else that this ministry did for me, and I am so very thankful, and again, I thank you all for what you have done. This group taught me, or helped me to improve my Christian walk. So I was always the kid, I was raised in the church. So I grew up as a Catholic. We were in church every week with my mother, my brother and I, you know, just about every week. I was on the choir from 6th grade through 12th grade. My brother was an altar boy for, I don't know, however many years he was in there. My mother didn't play. You were in church. I wouldn't say she made sure we were there every Sunday, but if it's 52 weeks in a year, we were there at least 45. So every Sunday we were there. So even as I became an adult and I moved out on my own, I knew I had to find a church home because I knew that church is what I was supposed to do. So I would go to church just because that was something that I was raised to do. It wasn't because I felt like I had a true relationship with God, and I don't want to turn this into anything really religious, but it's part of who I am, so I'm going to tell it. It wasn't until I became involved with this ministry did my Christian walk change. So this group taught me how to pray. This group taught me how to understand what prayer was about. This group taught me how to sit still and listen. Like, this group truly helped me to look at church differently. So now I go to church because I want to go to church. I go to church because I understand that I feel the presence of God when I'm in church. I go to church because I want to hear the message that the pastor is going to deliver to me. So I am now a Baptist. Let me throw that in there. So I converted to baptism in 2001, right after 9/11. And then joined my current church in 2008. So I've been at my current church since 2008 and love my church. Love it, love it, love it. Again, prior to this ministry, I was just going to church because that was just something I was supposed to do. I'm supposed to get up Sunday morning, I'm supposed to go to church. I'm supposed to get up the next Sunday and go to church because that's what I was told to do. But now I get up and go to church because I want to go to church. I want to be in the presence of the Lord. I want to be in the presence of the choir. I want to be in the presence of the pastor. I want to be in the presence. And I listen better. And I understand better. And it was this group that helped me to see all of that. And for that, I will be forever indebted to this group for helping me become a better person. I feel that once I changed my whole thought process and not belief system, because I always believe, but accepted church better, I guess I should say, then I just feel like I just became a totally better person. Now, I can't quite quote you no Bible verses or anything like that, but I know how to pull up the app and I know how to search for the Bible verse. Again, I don't want to get too religious, but this group changed my life. Changed my life. Just changed my way of thinking, changed my way of being, everything. And it was amazing. So again, if you are going through this type of process of separation or leading to divorce or anything, I would suggest that you just try to find a group. If you are interested in this particular ministry that I'm talking about, feel free to comment below and I will reach out to you. But again, for confidentiality purposes, I don't want to put that out here in the social media world. I would recommend this ministry to every and anybody who needs it, because they were truly, truly amazing. Truly, truly amazing, and a blessing on my life till today. And I have been out of that ministry it's been about 5 years. And for a while, even while I was in that ministry, there was a smaller ministry that was formed to help children who had parents who were going through separation and divorce, because it affects children too. It just does not affect the adults. So I put my daughter in it for a little while. It didn't last long because it wasn't a huge, they didn't have the numbers to keep the ministry actually up and running. So it was a lot of logistics involved. So they didn't keep that part of that ministry going. But I'm just glad she was able to be involved with a group of kids who were also going through similar situation that she was going through, and getting feedback from the servant leaders that were dealing with that. They were like, she's fine, she's good, she's, understood it. So that felt good too, to know that she was, also on the other side and that we were moving forward together. So a great group. Love, love, love this ministry. And again, for you members who are part of that, you know who you are. I thank you so very much. You just do not know how much you guys have been such an integral part of my life, and I will love you forever for what you did and what you say. Because they called me on it. They called me on my stuff. They did. You weren't supposed to act like that. That wasn't Christian-like, different things like that. Oh, they called, and there's this one particular guy, and you know who you are. He still calls me on my stuff till today. So, yeah, I'm not messing up no more, because they truly call me on it all the time. They know what they do. So they are here to stay in my life, because, yeah, we're not going back through no foolishness. We are on the upside. of everything. And I am so very happy and blessed with the stage that I am right now in my life. So again, if you want information on this ministry, feel free to comment below and I will definitely get back out, reach out to you to, give information or have someone reach out to you, whichever way you prefer. That's it for this story. I feel like I kind of rambled, but again, I couldn't get into specifics. I just wanted to let you know about this ministry that helped me get to the other side. So like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell when you subscribe so that you can, automatically be notified when I put out new videos. And speaking of new videos, I put out a new video different than this right here. I was cooking with my daughter in the kitchen. So make sure you go check that out. We made some shrimp tacos and they were delicious. And then I have a new endeavor that I'm going to begin later this week. So again, you have to keep subscribing and keep notifying and keep liking and sharing and all that good stuff so you can be updated and you can stay in the loop, because there's some exciting things for me. They're exciting for me. You might not find them exciting, but they're exciting for me. And again, this is completely out of my comfort zone. So the fact that I'm just putting this out there for everybody to hear and see and, all of that is, who would have thunk it? But here I am. So thank you guys. Thank you for watching and I will see you next time. Bye.